ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। We were looking at the objections of the Dvaitin with reference to whatever the Upanishad is revealing. So the main objection of the Dvaitin is that if you say that Brahman alone is there, and which is asamsari, that means there is no real samsari, then both karma khanda and jnana khanda will become nirvishaya, will not have any scope at all. Because if you say Brahman alone is there and it is an asamsari, then where are the people with desires to achieve something which is desirable and also to avoid something which is undesirable? So all karma kanda presupposes a certain desire to achieve something which you think is good for you or which you can enjoy, and to avoid things which you think are bad for you and which are not pleasurable, which are not desirable. So if you do not accept any karta, bhokta and all the factors of action, correct? If you do not accept even an actor and an enjoyer and the factors of action, then there is no scope of any karma khanda. Similarly, even Upanishad also cannot have any meaningful scope, because unless there is a bheda of the teacher taught, correct? The Guru Shishya bheda is there, Shastra also is there differently. Any pramana pravritti, any means of knowledge for it to operate requires division again of the knower and the known. So according to your Siddhanta, both Upanishad and Karma Khanda, all of them will have problems. So both are going to have problem. Like this, I think we saw up to this part. So yena bheda abhave karma kandam niralambanam atmanam labhate pramanyam prati tatha upanishadapi. So if you do not have any bheda, if you do not accept any division, differences, and say that non-duality is the reality, this karma kanda also is niralambanam, means it will not have any basis. And also Upanishad also will have a problem. Both of them will not have any pramanyam, means they cannot be considered as a valid means of knowledge. So continuing what evam tarhi yasya pramanye swartha vighataha nasti tasyaiva karma kandasya astu pramanyam. So now the Dvaitin makes a point here saying that since the same issue is there with both karma kanda and jnana kanda, at least karma kanda does not contradict itself. He claims that at least. So he says whichever pramana which does not contradict itself, swartha vighataha means what? That which contradicts its own revelation or whatever it tries to teach, if it contradicts itself. So why is he saying that Upanishad is swartha vighata, means Upanishad is self-contradictory? Why is he saying that? Because he claims that Upanishad is, in some places it is talking about oneness, correct? In other places it is talking about Srishti, means it is talking about how all these different 14 lokas came from this Brahman, the different Mahabhutas have come, the different Devatas starting from Prajapati onwards. So it is also talking about this, as he claims, differences. Okay. the manifold nature of the creation also, it is talking about how the creation came about in its manifold variety. So it is self-contradictory. Upanishads are self-contradictory according to your interpretation, but at least Karma Kanda is not self-contradictory. It is simply revealing what is to be done, how you can do it. Correct? Iti kartavyata, we say, how to do a certain karma, what is the result of that, all these things it's revealing. So Karma Kanda alone has pramanya, that means because it does not contradict itself, but Upanishads are contradicting itself. Therefore, we cannot consider them as a pramana. So that he explains further. He says, Upanishadantu pramanya kalpanayam swartha vighataha bhavediti ma bhut pramanyam. So he says, if you take the with reference to Upanishads, and if you want to say that they are an independent means of knowledge, then, and whatever you say that the Upanishads are revealing, if we take that into account, then it will become self-contradictory. Therefore, they cannot be considered as an independent means of knowledge. In fact, what all these people claim is, Upanishad also is only a Arthavada. You have to somehow connect it with some karma. Even things like Aham Brahmasmi and all is not really knowledge, like what you say. It is all only some kind of mental karma. It is a upasana. You do that upasana and you will go to Golok Vrindavan, Vaikuntham, Kailasha, like that. So they are doing tourism promotion, really. So that is their kind of, so they are saying that Upanishad does not really start any new topic or any new teaching. So they do not have any independent, or they should not be considered as an independent means of knowledge for a particular subject matter. So they do not have any pramanya, like you say. Also further he says, Nahi karma kandam pramanam sat apramanam bhavitum arhati. Also another thing he says is, if what you say is true, Karma Khanda will become apramana. It is not a valid means of knowledge, because whatever it is revealing will become invalid if you say there is only oneness. And that also we cannot accept, because a means of knowledge will not suddenly become a non-means of knowledge, correct? So Karma Kanda, initially you say that it is a means of knowledge, and later on you cannot claim that it is not a means of knowledge, valid means of knowledge, like that. Whatever was originally a means of knowledge will continue to be a means of knowledge. And he gives an analogy for that. He says, Nahi pradipaha prakashyam prakashayati na prakashayati cha iti. So you cannot say that the lamp is giving brightness, and at the same time you cannot say that it does not give brightness. It does not throw light, correct? A lamp means it is throwing light on something and it keeps throwing light. It is revealing by giving light. Similarly, pramana also is revealing something. Suddenly you cannot say that it does not reveal anymore. It is not like that. So, and further he gives one more reason. This is very for Dvaitins, this is a big thing. So they say pratyakshadi pramana vipradishedacha. Also, whatever you are saying, this non-duality contradicts with what is revealed by pratyakshadi pramana. Pratyakshadi means anumana, arthapati, upamana, everything you can add here. So whatever your interpretation of the Upanishad, it contradicts with other means of knowledge, and that is not proper, correct? If it is contradicting with established knowledge, then your interpretation is wrong. So based on all this, what is he saying? Na kevalam Upanishadaha Brahma ekatvam pratipadayantaha swartha vighatam karma kanda pramanya vighatancha kurvanti. Okay, he explains that further. He says, not only is the Upanishad which is revealing Brahma ekatvam according to you has self-contradiction, the other thing is it also contradicts the pramanya, okay, of the karma khanda. But further what? Pratyakshadi nischita bheda pratipatti artha pramanischa viruddhyante. it is also contradicting other means of knowledge like sense perception, because whatever bheda, the differences which we cognize using our sense perception and inference, etc., that knowledge also is negated by the Upanishad, means it is contradicting. Therefore, what tasmad apramanyameva Upanishadam. So therefore, Upanishad, they should not be considered as a separate means of knowledge which is revealing this oneness of Brahman. And you cannot consider that it is actually having a subject matter of its own. It has to be like an arthavada, it has to be connected with something which is already there, some karma. So that's what he explains next. What anyarthatava astu. So if we interpret the Upanishad like what you are interpreting, then Upanishads cannot be considered as a means of knowledge independently. Otherwise, we have to give some other meaning for whatever the Upanishads are revealing. We have to interpret it differently. Therefore, what? Natu eva Brahma ekatva pratipatti arthatha. Therefore, what? It is not for the purpose of understanding the oneness of Brahman. So this is this whole paragraph is the objection of the Dvaitin. So Dvaitin has come back after we have negated the Bheda Bhedavadi. Now Bhashyakara initially, in a very cheeky manner, he is answering first, and then he goes into a lot more details. So first he says, na, whatever you are saying, we do not accept, because Ukta Uttaratvat. See, all these objections we have already dealt with, we have answered anyway. So, but anyway, he is going to explain. What is he saying? So he is saying, pramanasya hi pramanatvam apramanatvam va prama utpadana anutpadana nimittam. Okay. So what he is saying is, whether a means of knowledge is revealing valid knowledge or not, should only be based on whether it is really giving you a valid knowledge or not, correct? Not on other considerations. So why do we say something is a valid means of knowledge? Because it is revealing to me something which is valid. It has the capability to produce knowledge. Okay, prama utpadana. So if a means of knowledge has the capability to produce valid knowledge, then we have to accept it as a pramanam. Okay. Otherwise, what? Anyatha chet stambadinam pramanya prasangat shabdadau prameye. So he says, then if you do not accept this basic principle, then what will happen? Even a post will be considered as a pramana for, or a means of knowledge for Shabda. In fact, in one way we can say that is true today, correct? All these mobile towers are all posts, and through them we are receiving sound, you can say, or even radio and all that. But at least in Bhashyakara's time, it was not there. So basically what he is saying is, anything can become a means of knowledge for anything else, you can say. There won't be any vyavastha. Karna Karya vyavastha itself will be gone if you do not accept this. So that's what he is saying. So he says even a post can become a means of knowledge for hearing sounds. Like this, somebody can say, if there is no vyavastha. So the Dvaitin is, I think, irritated. He says, Kinchataha. So what is this statement you are making, as though we don't know that? So Bhashyakara explains, Yadi tavat Upanishadaha Brahma ekatva pratipatti pramam kurvanti katam apramanam bhaveyuhu. So he says, if the Upanishads reveal the oneness of this Brahman, correct, and give that knowledge to you, all these Upanishad Vakyas, how can you say that they are not a pramana? Means then he says, first he says, na kurvanti eva iti chet. He says, no, Upanishads are not revealing Brahma Ekatvam. They do not reveal Brahma Ekatvam at all. They do not reveal the oneness of Brahman. And he says, it is, if you say that they are revealing oneness, it is like saying fire is cold. Yatha agnihi shitam. So if you say that Upanishads are revealing the oneness of Brahman, it is like saying fire is cold. So Bhashyakara now says, this is what the Dvaitin is saying. For that he is saying, Saha Bhavan Evam Vadan Vaktavyaha. So the one who says like this in this manner now has to only answer our question. Okay, our humble question is what? He is saying that now. What is that? Upanishad Pramanya Pratishedartham Bhavataha Vakyam Upanishad Pramanya Pratishedam Kinna Karoti Eva Agnirva Rupa Prakasham. So he asks, see now you are making a negationary or whatever, a statement of negation. Okay, that Upanishads do not give knowledge of oneness of Brahman. That is your statement. Now that is a Pratishedha statement, correct? It is a statement of negation. Does that statement have mean, or can that statement be considered as a valid means of knowledge or not? Does it give a valid knowledge or not? Okay, that Upanishads are not a pramana, like that you are saying, that vakya, that sentence, does it give knowledge or not? Like even the fire helps you to see forms, etc. Correct? Agnirva Rupa Prakashanam. So fire helps you to see forms in a dark room. Atha Karoti. If you say that your own statement is a valid means of knowledge, okay? Yadi Karoti, Bhavatu Tada Pratishedartham Pramanam Bhavad Vakyam. So your Vakya, your sentence itself is a means of knowledge because it is negating something, correct? Similarly, and also that negation is like Agnischa Rupa Prakashakaha Bhave, like even the fire reveals forms, etc. Your statement also is making a negation. Then if negation or statements of negation can be considered as a means of knowledge, then Upanishad also is negating something, correct? Neti neti. So how can you say that the statements of negation of Upanishad are not a means of knowledge? So Bhashyakara is making a very generic kind of argument here. He is saying if statements of negation, whether you make it or Upanishads make it, if your statement of negation can be considered as a means of knowledge, then the statement of negation of Upanishad also has to be considered as means of knowledge because it is negating the multiplicity, the duality. So it is a Pratisheda Vakya only. Whatever the Upanishad is revealing, it is revealing through Pratisheda, negation. In fact, the Veda itself is the means of knowledge with reference to self-knowledge only through negation. This is said even in the Brahma Sutra Bhashya, and it is said in the Mandukya Karika also. Bhashyakara, in fact, there quotes Dravidacharya also. So in the Sampradaya, the Atmajnanam itself is considered to be revealed only by negation. Why? Because self need not be revealed. It is self-revealing. So all the Upanishad is doing is removing wrong notions about yourself. That is why it is a means of knowledge based on statements of negation. So here, if your statement of negation can be considered as a means of knowledge, why cannot the Upanishad's statement of negation be considered as a means of knowledge? That is the crux of the argument Bhashyakara is making here. If your statement can be considered like fire, which is revealing all the forms, why can't the Upanishad statement also be like that? So now you only have to tell Atra Bhavantaha Bruvantu Kaha Parihara iti. You tell me now, why cannot the statements of negation which is there in the Upanishad can't be considered as a means of knowledge? Then this guy, the Purvapakshi now comes. He says, Nanu Atra Pratyaksha Madvakyaha Upanishad Pramanya Pratishedartha Pratipattihi Agnaucha Rupa Prakashana Pratipattihi Prama. So now he says, no, whatever I say is the truth because that is pratyaksham, that is known directly. that Upanishad does not have any means of knowledge. If I say it cannot be considered as a means of knowledge. It is like fire revealing forms only. It is all pratyaksham. Okay, it is direct knowledge. Okay, my vakyas are like that, but the same cannot be said about Upanishad. That is the argument he is again making. Then, but Bhashyakara doesn't leave. He says, if your statement of negation is a means of knowledge, then what is your problem? Your pradveshaha, he says, in fact, kastarhi bhavataha pradveshaha brahma ekatva pratyaye pramam pratyaksham kurvatishu upanishadsu upalabhyamanasu. So with reference to the Upanishad vakyas, which are again Upanishad vakyas are also giving direct knowledge only. Understand that. Okay, pramam pratyaksham pramam. But sometimes technically when we say, we do not call it pratyaksha. In fact, we call it aparoksha. In a negative manner, again, we say it is not indirect, but it is not pratyaksha like direct knowledge, like an object of knowledge also. It doesn't reveal, because the self cannot be objectified. So to differentiate between regular sense perception, which is direct knowledge of an object, and to also differentiate it from indirect knowledge like doing inference, we say self-knowledge is aparoksha. So we introduce a new word to slightly differentiate, because this knowledge, self-knowledge, is not like regular knowledge where you objectify something and know. Here, all you do is you remove all your wrong notions. Self is self only. It is self-revealing. There is nothing to be objectified. In fact, as long as you try to objectify, you are not knowing yourself really. Okay. So any manner of objectification of yourself, you have to give up at some point. Then only you know yourself correctly. So this looks like a certain contradiction or Zen kind of a statement, but that's how it is. So anyway, here, what is your dvesha, he asks. Why are you so loath, what we call in English, or you can say, what is your grudge against this Upanishads revealing oneness of this Brahman? Okay. Because whatever you say, correct, it is contradictory and all that. Those things are not tenable. He says, pratisheda anupapatte, because your arguments are not logical. That means it only points to some emotional attachment. Most of these Dvaitins are having only emotional attachment to certain things. In fact, my Guru Pujya Swamiji used to say that they all have some psychological problem really, because somehow they are not able to grasp the nature of oneself as the limitless, because the limitless means you cannot have any more props or anything. Understand that. It requires a lot of emotional strength and maturity to even own up this knowledge. It's not very easy. If you have some leftover emotional issues, it is not very easy to own up to this knowledge. First, one has to be strong emotionally. As an individual also, you should have an ego which is already nourished. It should be so nourished that it is able to see its own limitations and see its own status of the truth also, that it is not as true as you think. Correct. Your own individuality itself is coming and going. Correct. It is not there in deep sleep. Then how can you say that individuality is your truth or nature? Whatever is your nature, whatever is your truth, can never leave you. It can never change. Correct. Yad rupena yen nishchidam bhavati tad rupena tanna vyabhicharati iti satyam. That's how Bhashyakara defines satyam in the Taittiriya Upanishad Bhashya, or satyam jnanam anantam brahma. So whatever you have ascertained in a particular form, it should never change. That alone is the truth for us. And what about your very individuality? In waking, you have one individuality. In dream, you may be having some other individuality. In deep sleep, there is no individuality. It has vanished. But you are always the conscious being. You are the invariable in each and every cognition. Correct? So you have to shift your focus even while you are cognizing things. What is our problem? In fact, we are wired to externally look at objects of knowledge. That is how we are wired. Correct? In fact, I think in another Upanishad, in Kathopanishad, it says that what we are all wired to see external things. And in fact, the Ishvara has in one way killed us that way. Okay. So from there to actually recognize oneself means even Upanishad also there says Kaschid Dhiraha, it says Kaschid Dhiraha Pratyaka Atmanam Aikshat Avritta Chakshur Amritatvam Icchan. Only few people desire for this Amritatvam, immortality. Desiring for that, they want to know their reality. Otherwise, we are all wired to look outside and go for only whatever sense objects. Whatever sense objects are revealed by your senses, people are only going after that. That is their life. And then the life is over, another life starts, same thing continues forever. Okay. So, that being the case, it is very difficult. It's only a certain dvesha towards this ekatva is there for many people. So your arguments are all not really tenable. You are making some arguments, but that's all out of only some emotional attachment. There is no real substance in your argument. That's what Bhashyakara says. So he says also you cannot make a charge that Upanishad knowledge does not really give any effect or any result. It is useless. You cannot say that. Why? Because once you know yourself as the limitless, you are no more subjected to any sorrow, delusion, etc. So there is a pratyaksha phala is there. That is why Jivan Mukti is very important for us. All these Dvaitins only talk about Videha Mukti, which is unverifiable. Understand that. All of them only do tourism promotion. After death, you will go to Golok Vrindavan, you will go to heaven, you will go to Kailasa, Vaikuntha. They have only Videha Mukti. But we are talking about Jivan Mukti, where while living only, you are free from all sorrow, all delusion. Shoka Mohadi Nivrittischa Pratyaksham Phalam, Bhashyakara says. So when this knowledge is giving you direct result like this, okay, then how can you say it is not a pramana? It is giving rise to certain knowledge, and there is a great usefulness for that knowledge also. Okay, there is a purpose, there is a result which is very useful. So Brahma Ekatva Pratipatti Paramparya Janitam iti avochama. So this phala is the result of this Brahma Ekatva Pratipatti. Okay, so you listen to the Upanishad, you understand the Vakyas, even if immediately you don't get the Jnana Phalam, because all insights do not immediately change you. Understand that. Because the existing conditioning is so strong. If you want to overcome any existing conditioning, you have to repeat the insight. There is no other way. And the insight also has to become stronger. You have to gain certain clarity. But even if you have clear knowledge, to overcome habitual tendencies and conditioning also takes some effort. So that's why Paramparya Janitam, Bhashyakara says, it takes some time. You have to, the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, Manal we say, but the Upanishad Vakyas only give rise to this knowledge, and then later there is a phala for that. There is a clear pratyaksham phalam is there, directly it is perceived the result of this knowledge. Therefore, what tasmad ukta uttaratvat Upanishadam prati apramanya shanka tavan nasti. Therefore, what already we have answered all these your questions. Therefore, with reference to the Upanishad, that they are not a means of knowledge like this, whatever doubts you raise, those things are all not valid. Okay, it is a pramana. There is no doubt about that. Okay, but now Bhashyakara particularly goes to two things. One is Swartha Vigata. You said that Upanishads are self-contradicting. Then Karma Kanda Pramanya Vigata, that they also contradict the Karma Kanda. Both of these things Bhashyakara is now trying to address specifically. So first he takes this Swartha Vigata. So Yacha Uktam Swartha Vigata Karatvat Apramanyamiti Tadapi Na. So first he says, you said that Upanishads are self-contradicting, therefore they are not a valid means of knowledge. That is not true. Why? Tad artha pratipattehe badaka abhava. So whatever it is revealing, that is not negated. Because how do we define valid knowledge? Anadhigatam abaditam. So whatever is revealed, for it to be a valid knowledge, it has to have been revealed something which is not already known. Okay, and then it should not be negated by any other means of knowledge. So whatever is being revealed by the Upanishads, neither Upanishads themselves contradict it, nor any other means of knowledge can contradict it. Understand that. So tad artha pratipattehe badaka abhava. There is no badaka. Nothing can negate it. There is no negating cognition for whatever has been revealed by the Upanishad. So he explains that further, that there is no self-contradiction. He says, Nahi Upanishadbhyaha Brahma ekameva advitiyam naivacha iti pratipattihi asti. Okay, Upanishads never say first that Brahman is ekameva advitiyam and later on Brahman is not ekameva advitiyam. Like this, it never says anywhere. Understand this. It does not contradict itself anywhere. It starts a particular topic saying that Sadeva Soumya idamagre asit ekameva advitiyam. Then later on it talks about all the Srishti and all that. But the Srishti is not to reveal the manifoldness. In fact, it is talking about the Srishti only to say Sadeva Satyam. Because the entire Srishti has come from this Sadvastu Brahman. And Brahman being the Karanam, that alone is Satyam. So the Adhyaropa and Apavada is there. Understand that. So deliberate superimposition and negation, it uses that to actually reveal the oneness of Brahman. So it is always revealing only the oneness of Brahman. It never says Brahman is many. Understand that. Nowhere it is contradicting itself. So Brahma ekameva advitiyam naivacha. Like that, two things contradictory, it never says. That Brahman is non-dual, one and only non-dual. And somewhere else it says, no, Brahman is not non-dual. Like that, it never says. Okay. Like even yatha agnihi ushnaha shitascha iti. Like even saying that Agni is, fire is hot, fire is cold. Like that, it is not there. So iti asmat vakyat viruddhartha dvayap pratipattihi. So when you say fire is hot and fire is cold, there are two meanings are coming out there, correct? Which are contradictory to each other. Two cognitions are there. It is not like that. Upanishad never is contradicting itself. And here also further he makes a technical point. He says, even this answer which I have given you is only assuming that there can be many meanings. Okay, anekarthata we call it. But normally, whenever we talk about, if you take Mimamsa, the Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa, whatever it is, that is our way of analyzing the Shastra and understanding what the Shastra reveals. So when we analyze the Shastra, the Veda, any particular section of the Veda should have what we call Eka Vakyata. It is only revealing one subject matter. It cannot reveal many different things. And further, if the many different things also cannot contradict each other, that can never be there. So he says, Abhyugamya cha etad avocham. So whatever I told you till now, it is only considering or assuming that Upanishad can reveal this also and that also. Two different things. But that itself we don't accept. So he explains further. He says, Natu Vakya Pramanya Samaye Yeshanyayaha. So when you are actually considering the Pramanya of a Vakya, of a Vedic sentence, okay, or a Vedic, a particular section of the Veda, you cannot have this Nyaya is saying, or this, here Nyaya means principle we have to take. So what are the principles of understanding the Veda? So what the Veda reveals, how do we understand? What are the principles we apply there? Means Yad utaha ekasya vakyasya anekarthatvam na nyayah, na yesha nyayah. So what principle is not there? For one vakya, many meanings you cannot give. Understand that. Then there can be confusion. Okay, because only if there are many meanings for one vakya, saticha anekartatve swartascha syat tad vigata kritya viruddhaha anyaha arthaha. So if you only accept that Upanishads are revealing many things, it is revealing both non-duality and duality. Only if you accept that, then you can say, okay, one of that is swartha, and then the other one is negating. Correct? Which one is swartha again? The Dvaitin will say swartha is only revealing duality. Then whatever vakyas are revealing non-duality are all contradictory, you have to say. But only if you accept that it can reveal two different things, that itself we don't accept. Okay, that principle itself, in fact, that is the principle in Mimamsa is Ekavakyata. They talk about Ekavakyata, means one particular section has to reveal only one subject matter. So, Natu Etat Vakya Pramanakanam Viruddham Aviruddhancha Ekam Vakyam Anekam Artham Pratipadeti iti Yeshaha Samayaha. So, it is not there. What is not there? That same Vakya, same sentence is revealing something which is contradictory and non-contradictory. Like this, multiple meanings you can take out of one sentence, one Upanishad. They are revealing like that. It is never considered like that. Why? Because Artha Ekatvad Ekavakyata. So by taking all the different Upanishad sentences as revealing a particular subject matter only, so Artha Ekatvat, they are all revealing the same thing. Then only you can say that Upanishad as a whole has Ekavakyata. They reveal only one particular subject matter. So that is the principle we apply. That is a commonly accepted principle by all the Mimamsakas, which Dvaitins also have to accept. That is why he is talking about that. So you cannot say that it is revealing both something which is contradictory and non-contradictory at the same time. So it has to have Ekavakyata. Nacha Kanichid Upanishad Vakyani Brahma Ekatva Pratishedham Kurvanti. Also, as you claim, like for example, the Srishti Vakyas, those Vakyas do not really negate the oneness of Brahman. So Brahma Ekatva Pratishedham means the negation of oneness of Brahman is not done by some Vakyas of Upanishad, as you claim. Okay. Also further, he says, even this example or analogy you give is really meaningless. That also Bhashyakara points out, because it is not only in the Vaidika world that we have this principle of Ekavakyata, even in the Laukika world also it is there. So he says, Yattu Laukikam Vakyam Agni Rushnaha Shitascha iti na tatra Ekavakyata, he says. So if you say Agni Rushnaha Shitascha, Agni, this fire is hot and cold, means there is no Ekavakyata in that. It is not revealing the same thing. In fact, tad ekadeshasya pramanantara vishaya anuvaditva. So in fact, when you say the fire is hot, that is not even a valid means of knowledge. Why? Or a revealing vakya, because it is already known through pratyaksha, correct? It is only anuvada. It is only a repetition of what you already know, or it is a recollection of whatever you already know through your own experience. Correct? You put your finger into fire, you know it is hot. So the words are not really a means of knowledge, because it is not anadhigatam. Whatever it is revealing is already adhigatam. It is already known through pratyaksha itself. So words here are not really an independent means of knowledge for the statement fire is hot. It is only a anuvada. Okay, pramanantara vishaya anuvaditvat means what? It is already revealed by some other pramana like pratyaksha. And so that subject matter only again these words are revealing. So it is only a restatement. And agnihi shitaha ityetad ekam vakyam. And if you say fire is cold, that is one vakya. But Agnir Ushnaha iti tu pramanantara anubhava smarakam. If you say fire is hot, it is only a recollection of whatever has been revealed by another means of knowledge, which is pratyaksha in this case. And therefore, what natu swayam artha avabodhakam. So it doesn't really reveal anything new by itself. Okay. Ataha na agnihi shitaha ityanena ekavakyata pramanantara anubhava smaranenaiva upakshinatva. Therefore, what? Therefore, this agnihi shitaha, if you say fire is cold, there is no ekavakyata from that also. Because why? Because by remembering whatever is revealed by your pratyaksha itself, that also loses its pramanyam. Correct? It doesn't have any ekavakyata. It doesn't reveal anything which is doesn't have a subject matter which is valid really. It's not revealing anything which is valid, because it has been negated or it goes away if you remember that fire is hot from your own experience. Therefore, even the sentence fire is cold doesn't have any meaning. It doesn't have any ekavakyata, means it doesn't have any meaning really in this context. Therefore, what? Yattu viruddhartha pratipadakam idam vakyam iti manyate tat shitoshna padabhyam agnipada samanadhikaranya prayoga nimitta bhrantihi. So whatever you say in the Upanishad itself, there are viruddhartha, two different contradictory meanings are being revealed by some vakyas. That is also like this. Like doing what he says, Shitoshna padabhyam Agni pada samanadhikaranya prayoga nimitta bhrantihi, he says. It is like having this delusion. If you use a sentence like fire is cold and fire is hot, it is using a sentence like this, where you are doing samanadhikaranyam means what? Apposition. Means two different things are there in the same locus. Samana adhikarana. Adhikarana means locus. Ashraya. So if you say red rose, means roseness and redness are there in the same substantive, same locus. That is what is called samanadhikaranyam. Apposition we say in English, for which you use the is the verb we use. Correct? Rose is red. Okay, lily is blue. All these things you can say. Big, beautiful, fragrant lily. Means all these things are actually pointing to the same locus, whether it is big, beautiful, fragrant, lily, blue lily, whatever. So here also in the same fire you are putting Shita and Ushna, hot and cold, as two qualities, which again is contradictory. And if you put contradictory qualities on the same substantive, it cannot be called knowledge. Correct? It is only bhranti. It is only delusion. So you are deluded to say that Upanishad is self-contradictory. So further, what? Natu eva ekasya vakyasya anekartatvam laukikasya vaidikasya va. Therefore, what he finally says, for one vakya, you cannot have many meanings, whether it is laukika or vaidika. Wherever you interpret the words, you have to arrive at only one meaning. Of course, based on context and all, you have to arrive at it, because a sentence by itself may mean many things, but you have to arrive at one meaning. You cannot arrive at multiple meanings, and then there won't be any vyavahara will not be possible properly. Okay. So Bhashyakara says you have to have only one artha, and we say that Upanishad is only revealing Brahma Ekatvam. That we can establish with the principles of Mimamsa. Else, there's no self-fiction of the Upanishad when it is revealing only one thing. Okay, that is the argument here at the end of the day. Okay, next to what? Yacha Uttam Karma Kanda Pramanya Vighata Krit Upanishad Vakyamiti Tanna Anyatarthatva. So you said one more thing, that the Upanishad Vakyas are actually negating the means of knowledge status of the Karma Kanda. Correct? That also is not correct, because Anyatarthatvat means what? What Karma Kanda is revealing is something, what Upanishads are revealing is something else. They do not contradict each other. That is the point here. They are two different fields of revelation, and they do not contradict each other. So how Bhashyakara is going to explain that beautifully here? So he says, Brahma Ekatva Pratipadana Parahi Upanishadaha. Okay, so the Upanishads are only interested in revealing the oneness of Brahman. Okay, they are only focused on that. The only focus of the Upanishads are to reveal the oneness of Brahman. But the Karma Kanda are different. So he is now trying to contrast the Upanishad with the Karma Kanda. So he says, Na ishtartha praptau sadhana upadesham tasmin va purusha niyogam varayanti anekartatva anubhavattehe eva. So the Upanishads are only interested in revealing the oneness of Brahman. They are not interested in anything else, like how to gain something what you desire and what is the means for that. All those teachings, Upadesha, the Upanishads are not even, that's not a subject matter of the Upanishad. And how the again tasmin va purusha niyogam means what? So it does not also stop anybody from pursuing whatever is revealed by the Karma Kanda. So the you can be associated with doing so many yajnas and all that which are given in the Karma Kanda. Upanishads are not stopping you from that. They cannot stop also anyway. Their only subject matter, whatever they are revealing, is oneness of Brahman. That is the only focus of the Upanishads. They are not revealing anything else or even negating anything else, because anekartatva anubhavattehe. So already this anekarta argument we gave. So he says they are not revealing two different things. They are revealing the oneness of Brahman. That is their only focus. They are not the same Vakyas, you cannot say, are actually negating whatever the Karma Kanda is revealing. That is not what is being done by the Upanishads. Also, nacha Karma Kanda Vakyanam Swarte Prama na Utpadyate. Further, whatever the Karma Kanda Vakyas are there, with reference to their own subject matter, whatever they are revealing, they are all valid knowledge only. You cannot say that valid knowledge will not come from Karma Kanda. Okay. So how Bhashyakara explains now? Asadharane chet swarte pramam utpadayati vakyam kutaha anyena virodaha syat. So he says asadharane swarte means something specific which is revealed. Asadharane here means we can take it as specific. So one's own meaning which is specific. Karma Kanda Vakyas have their own meaning, correct, which are revealing something specific. So with reference to that, it is creating that knowledge. How can you say that something else is contradicting it? Because something else does not even have that as a subject matter. That is the point here. The Karma Kanda Vakyas are having their own Eka Vakyata, which is different, which is specific. The Jnana Kanda Upanishad Vakyas are having their own subject matter, which is specific into whatever it is revealing. They do not neither support nor negate each other. Okay, that's what he is saying. So Brahma Ekatve Nirvishayatvat Pramanotpadyate Eva iti chet. So now the Purva Pakshi is saying, see, if Brahma Ekatve Sati we have to take. So if there is only oneness of Brahman, won't all this Karma Kanda Vakya have problems with that? There won't be any Vishaya then. There won't be any subject matter to talk about, to whom they will talk, about what they will talk. If only Brahman alone is there, you are saying. Therefore, the Karma Kanda Vakyas will not produce any valid knowledge. So why cannot I say like that? Like this, the Purva Pakshi is asking. Bhashyakara says, na pratyakshatvat pramayaha. So whatever you say is not correct, because there is direct knowledge or direct experience of whatever they are revealing. That knowledge is happening, correct? From Karma Kanda, whatever you learn, that is giving you certain knowledge. Based on that, you can do something. So there is nothing which is stopping that. So the knowledge produced by the Karma Kanda is pratyaksha. It is directly known by us. Therefore, you cannot deny. In fact, here Bhashyakara will give a technical argument. We'll see that next. So he is explaining that how it is giving direct knowledge. He says, Darsha Purna Masabhyam Swarga Kamaha Ejeta. So the Upanishad, the Karma Kanda says, whoever is desirous of going to Swarga has to do this Darsha Purnamasa. It's a particular ritual, Darsha and Purnamasa. Every 15 days you have to do this. Okay, so that knowledge is there. This statement is there. If you are interested in going to Swarga, do this. Means that produces a certain knowledge in you. And not only that, the Karma Kanda is also telling how you can do that ritual every 15 days. So you go and do that then, based on, if you are interested to go to Swarga, and Upanishad and the Karma Kanda has given you this particular knowledge and how to do that also, go and do it. Similarly, what? Brahmanaha na hantavyaha. So you should not kill a Brahmana. It's a Brahmahatti dosha and all we say. It is a Mahapataka. So it will give you papa. So if you want to avoid undesirable experiences and accumulate, if you don't want to accumulate papa, do not kill a Brahmana. Do not kill anybody, in fact. Specifically, a Brahmana is mentioned here. Like this, Ityevamadi Vakyabhyaha Pratyaksha Prama Jayamanaha. So from these sentences, the knowledge which is produced is known to everybody. How can you deny that no knowledge will happen? These sentences are producing this knowledge, and that knowledge is valid. Based on that only people are living their life also. Sa naiva bhavishyati yat upanishadaha brahma ekatvam bodhayishyanti iti anumanam. So whatever you are saying that this knowledge will not take place because Upanishads are talking about oneness of Brahman, that is only an anumana. It's only an inference, correct? But in reality, we see that people study this Karma Kanda Vakyas and this knowledge takes place in them, and based on it, they are also doing karma. How can you do some anumana and say that because of this anumana, this pratyaksha vishaya will not happen? Whatever we have known through pratyaksha means it is directly, we have already known it. That can never be negated by an inference, correct? Inference is not more powerful than pratyaksha. Therefore, Bhashyakara makes this argument here. So, nacha anumanam pratyaksha virodhe pramanyam labhate. So, anumana cannot be considered as a means of knowledge to contradict pratyaksha. Anumana is not powerful with reference to pratyaksha. Pratyaksha is the jeshta pramana, we say. It is the main means of knowledge. All inference, in fact, is based on some pratyaksha. Of course, that pratyaksha itself can be enhanced pratyaksha, enhanced sense knowledge and all that we can say by microscope, telescope and all that. Different kinds of instruments can enhance it. But at the end of the day, all Anumana cannot go against Pratyaksha. They have to explain that in some way or the other. Therefore, Tasmad Asadeva Etad Giyate Pramaiva Notpadyate iti. So whatever you say, that Prama, the knowledge itself does not take place or will not take place for the Karma Kanda Vakyas, that is Asat, that is not true, that is false. You are just singing this false tune. Okay, whatever you are singing is a false tune. It does not really have any reality. People do get the knowledge by reading this Karma Kanda Vakyas and they do accordingly. That is known to everybody. That cannot be negated by you. Further what? Apicha yata praptasya eva avidya pratyupasthapitasya kriyakaraka phalasya आश्रयणेन इष्टानिष्ट प्राप्ति परिहार उपाय सामान्ये प्रवृत्तस्य तद विशेषम अजानतः तद आचक्षाणाः श्रुतिः क्रियाकारक फलभेदस्य लोक प्रसिद्धस्य सत्यताम् असत्यतां वा न आचष्टे न च वारयति इष्टानिष्ट फल प्राप्ति परिहार उपाय विधिपरत्वात्. Okay, this is a very big sentence. Let us take bit by bit. See further what Apicha he says yata praptasya. See, already a person is there. Okay, he already has some desires. That is a given. It is already a given condition, correct? This is not, this condition was neither created by the Upanishad nor the Karma Kanda or anything. People have their own desires, correct? That is yata prapta, means already it is there. It is a given condition. And that condition itself is due to avidya. It is due to their ignorance of not knowing themselves. That is fine. So avidya pratyupastapitasya means what? The existing condition of any individual itself is based on his ignorance of his own self. And then because he takes himself as karta bhokta, means what? Kriya karaka phalasya ashrayanena. So he now has he has to depend on all these activities and factors of activities, correct? Action and factors of action based on that, and also the results of action. So depending on all these things, what does anyone want to accomplish? They want to gain whatever is ishta, whatever is desirable. They want to avoid anishta, whatever is undesirable. So ishta anishta prapti parihara. Okay, so that is what they want. They want ishta prapti anishta parihara, and for that they are looking for some upaya, means what? Some means, and that they do not know themselves clearly. Okay, that is a samanya, means what? So this is the situation in general. The situation in general, what? Already it is a given that people are ignorant about themselves. They take themselves as a karta bhokta. Therefore they are dependent on action, its results and the factors of action to actually gain something which is desirable and to avoid something which is undesirable. And for that they are looking for some parihara or some means, some upaya they are looking for. Okay, for this anishta parihara and ishta prapti. That being the case, pravrittasya tad vishesham ajanataha. So like this, people are already pravritta, means what? They are already engaged in action. They are already engaged as ignorant people, but they do not know the specific details how to go about gaining the desired things or avoiding undesired things. That is where the Shruti comes and then instructs, okay, you do this. If you are interested to go to Swarga, do this. If you want a putra, do this. If you want wealth, do this. If you want to avoid unpleasant experiences later, don't kill a brahmana or don't kill somebody else or don't drink. Suram na pibet, kalanjam na bhakshayet. All this it is giving pratisheda also. Both vidhi and pratisheda are given by the Shruti based on this. So here Shruti is going along with your present condition. It is not making any judgment on whether this is all real or not. So tad achakshanaha shrutihi kriyakaraka फलभेदस्य लोकप्रसिद्धस्य सत्यताम् असत्यतां वा न आचष्टे न च वारयति means what? The Shruti is only going along with you and giving you means and ends based on your own current condition status. Okay, and here the Kriya Karaka Phala Bheda is all Loka Prasiddha already. It's all known to everybody, and it is not this Karma Kanda. Its subject matter is not to reveal the truth of whether this Kriya Karaka Phala Bheda is really there or not and all that. It is not the subject matter of the Karma Kanda. So it neither supports the truth or falsity of all these things, nor it negates the truth or untruth of all these things. That is not the subject matter of the Karma Kanda. What is the subject matter of Karma Kanda? Ishtanishta Phala Prapti Parihara Upaya Vidhi Paratvat. So the Karma Kanda is only interested in revealing what is Ishta and how to gain that. And again, what is Anishta and how to avoid that. That is the only focus of the Karma Kanda. That is their Ekavakyata. So whatever they are revealing is something, whatever the Upanishad is revealing is something else. They do not really clash with each other, neither contradict each other or neither support each other. Therefore, whatever you say is not correct. So this argument goes further. We will see that next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Thank you.